Hello, and welcome to the first video of the series Important Programs That You Need to Know Before Your Next Automation Testing Interview. Now, if you have not seen the first video, wherein we are talking about the introduction and the intent of the series, I would suggest that you go ahead and have a look at it. So, I'm assuming that you have seen it. So, let's start. So, in the first program or in the first video of the entire series, we are going to solve the programming question which says write down a Java program to reverse a string. Cool. Now, of course, you have to code it out, but my intent here is not to just write down those lines of code without the thought, and then you find it difficult to understand later on. And if I had to do that, I would just simply put up an article, right? So the intent of the video is to help you understand the approach in which we will go ahead and write down this particular program, right? So you have this board in front of you, pardon me. We'll start on the fresh board, and I will tell you pictorially how we are going to handle it, right? So first of all, let me show you the string that we are going to reverse, right? So the string that we are going to reverse will be tech. Assume that this is the string that we have been asked to reverse, right? Now, what I'm going to do is, or what you have to understand is that tech here is a word and you have to reverse it. So you cannot simply take away and reverse it, right? Because a word is a combination of alphabets. So you have to break this word into alphabets and then you have to reverse them, right? So how do we reverse it? That is, we break it into alphabets. And in the programming terms, this is a string and you have to break it into a collection of characters. It is similar to that. I mean, a word is a combination of letters or alphabets, and a string is a combination of characters combined, right? So what I'll do is I'll tell you that the indexing is important. So what you do is that if you, let's suppose if I want to fetch this particular alphabet or this particular letter, which is T, how do I do it? How do I tell the system? I tell it that for this particular word or for this particular string, fetch the letter at the 0th index. Now, one thing to note, herein we start with 0, not with 1. Got it? So if you have to call C, you straight away say that help me fetch the character at the second index of the word tech. So it will fetch you C, right? So now you take these letters and you reverse it. So how will you do it? So usually what you do is that you first call 3, then you call 2, then you call 1, and then you call 0, and then you reverse it, right? But when you have to, this is what we are talking about human wise, but when you have to tell the system, when you have to tell the machine, there is a different process to it, right? You'll have to call it each and every time, and then you'll have to reverse it, right? Now the thing is, when you do it in a programmatic manner, you have to understand and you have to remember that one thing being done repeatedly, that requires recursion. And what is recursion? It is basically implementation of loops, right? So let us see the first recursion in place. Now, observe it carefully. What I'm going to do is I am going to have a character array. How to declare character array, forget everything, because that is something I'll show you in the code. But I'm telling you, I will have this variable. And if you have learned algebra or anything, you know what is a variable, right? Now, character, I will have it here, and I will go ahead and I will fetch the first alphabet of the string. And when I say first, I told you it starts with 0, which is going to be T. Now I have it separately. And the second thing that I'm going to write is, now understand one thing, you have this string in one variable, right? Now to store the reverse one, you'll have to have another variable. So we'll make it as reverse string. This is a variable. Cool. So now what I'll do is I'll say reverse string is equals to ch, that is, or rather let me write it down, ch plus reverse string, which is blank right now, right? Now let us sum it up. So ch here is t and it blank is nothing, so it makes it t. So you have only t in the reverse string right now, right? Now you understand one thing, that the reverse string right now is t. So if you want the reverse of it, of course, you always have to make sure that ECHN will come to the left hand side of it. And that is how you reverse it, right? So in the second iteration, what you do is, now again, same thing, that is CH is equals to, now you go and take the second letter of this word, right? Which is E. So you say tech of 1, which is E, right? and then reverse is equals to, or rather reverse string is equals to ch, which is e, plus the reverse string. So till now the reverse string is t, e plus t. That will make it e t. So are you seeing the pattern here? E t. The reverse is happening. Now in the third iteration, similarly, you will have this as ch will be, that is on the next iteration or at the next index will be c, and the reverse of the string will now be e t and c here, right? So it makes it c e t. So now you have, and in the fourth iteration, you will have it as h c e and t. Got it? This is how the reverse will function. I know this is not very pretty to look at, but the intent here is to help you understand how the algorithms or how the loops actually work. Because once you get that, then writing down it into code is not that difficult, right? So now let's go to IntelliJ and let's see how to implement this thing, right? So you see in front of in front of you, you have this algorithm, and I have already explained this algorithm to you. But now I will go step by step and I'll show you and I'll write down the code and it'll make more sense to you, right? So first of all, it says declare the string variable to reverse. So let me go ahead and let me write it down as tech. Cool. Now declare a character array. Why do we need a character array, which is in the second step? Because we have to split the word and convert it into a collection of letters, right? So I'll declare it as, and you know how to do these are the basic standard syntaxes of Java, so you have to know it. I mean, you learn it and then after a while you just get used to these things, right? I'm sorry, not this way. This has to be declared this way, right? Now it says in the third step that convert the string to character and assign it to the same declared character array. What is it saying? Let's go back to the whiteboard. So it says convert it and assign it to the character array, this step, right? And you have to do it again and again. Of course, if you do it only once, you will be able to fetch only the first letter, and if you do it again and again, then you'll have to do it 4 times, right? And if you know, and if you are into programming, you should know that anything which is repeating twice in a anything which is repeating multiple times in a sequential manner has to be dealt in a very recursion manner. That is, you have to implement a loop, and that is what the next step says. I'm sorry, this is wrong. Okay, that is what the next step says. It says that initiate the for loop with required parameters, right? So I'll go ahead and I'll initiate a for loop, and let me go ahead and let me write for. It gives me an auto suggestion. I'll write for, and then I'll start it with int I equals to 0, because I told you that the indexing is 0, 1, 2, and 3. So you have to start with 0 and you have to take it till the end of the string, right? So how do you do that? So what is the length of the string? The length is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Now if you write it as I less than equals to the length of the string. So in Java, there is a function which calculates the length of the string, right? str.length will get you the length of the string, which is 4, right? So the string length here is 4. Now understand one thing. If you write it down as if I is less than or equals to string, then it will make it as, it will go up to 0, it will go up to 4, right? But the intent here is to end it at the third index, which is 0, 1, 2, and 3, right? So we'll write it down as I is less than str dot lec. It gave you an auto suggestion, and of course you have to increment it every time by 1 1, which is I plus plus, right? So now understand one thing very clearly, that this implementation can make you or can confuse you a bit. But once you have this entire pictorial representation in your mind, you see this code and then you think about it for 5 minutes and then you go ahead and code it yourself, I am 90% sure you'll be able to crack it. And if not, then second time 100% sure you'll be able to crack it, right? So whatever I'm saying might be a bit overwhelming at the first time, and I can simply write down the line of codes for you, but that doesn't make sense. You have to understand how to approach a problem. And that is what we're doing right now, right? So we have started a loop. So what this loop does is that instead of doing the same thing 4 times that we did on the canvas, and even it became a bit annoying for you, why are we doing same thing again and again, just just with some changes. And that is why we have the loop in picture, right? So we have done the loop. Now what it said at the first time is that you have to first fetch the first index, then the second index, then the third index, and then the fourth index, and assign it to the character. So first of all, let's follow the first iteration, right? So I will write it down as ch is equals to str. Now you have to put it as str.charAt. So what dot charAt does is that it fetches the alphabet on that particular index, right? Now, how did I get caret in my mind? This is no rocket science. As you approach doing more programs, you will get the gist of these. And even if you don't, you just go ahead and Google how to get the character of a string, and then you'll have this method. These are inbuilt methods, right? So I'll press enter, and then I'll say I want the character at the ith index, right? Which is starting from 0 till 1 till 2 till 3. Got it? Until 4, sorry, right? So you have to put it as str.charAt at I, because we are making it a loop, not one by one. So I will be 0, then in the next one plus 1 it will be 1, then plus 1 it will be 2, and then plus 1 it will be 3, right? Now you have this in place. Now at this point of time you have the particular character in your hand, which is T. In the next iteration you'll have E, in the next iteration you'll have C, and in the next iteration you'll have H, right? Now, first of all, we are starting with 0, so we have T in place, right? Now I will concatenate these, and I want a reverse string holder that we have not declared yet. And as I told you, we are going to use them as required. I mean, we are going to declare the variables as required. So it will be revStr. I have declared this, right? So now let me go ahead and let me put it as revStr is equals to ch plus revstr, right? See, now let me go ahead and let me just print it out. So I will print out revstr, right? And let's see how it looks. So this is the one. See, it has been reversed, right? So did you see that when we were doing it manually and we were understanding it, it was going back to back, I mean, so many lines. But when we are doing it with the help of code, it just took a couple of lines. See, and that is the beauty of programming. That is why I mean, the world is going into softwares, because things become very easy and things becomes very smart. So then, and this is how you have reversed the string. So I hope that this entire lengthy explanation was helpful to you, and this might be a bit lengthy, but the intent here is to open up your mind to understand how to think for a programming problem, and how to solve one. So if you have any questions, any queries, again, as always, please feel free to reach out to us and let us know, and we promise to get back to you within 24 hours. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video.